Hello again, friends, and welcome to another fine edition of 151. I am Adam, and I'm joined by a man that once punched Scotty right in the warp core.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Justin.
Thank you.
Good, what is it, afternoon?
Yes.
Yes? Is that where we're at right now?
Afternoon. Yep.
Our sound is fixed, everything is cool, and we're here for another episode. You can follow us on Twitter at 151theshow. We're on Facebook, pretty much the same thing, and YouTube. Also on SoundCloud, you can find the information at the bottom of the page. Do me a favor and please share this with your friends, as we'd like a bigger following and more views.
Yes, we would.
We will do whatever it takes to get more views, except spend money.
Well,
what have you spent, like $5 on Facebook or something?
No. I'm just thinking there are going to be limits as to what I'm going to do.
Okay, so this time on 151, we're going to talk Star Trek. We talked about Prelude to Axanar and fan films and that whole deal a couple weeks ago. But Justin and I, we both have seen the new Star Trek movie,
Star Trek Beyond,
and Star Trek, in their infinite wisdom, put out a trailer of sorts during Comic-Con for the new Star Trek show, which I do not think they took one bit of advice from us.
No, I don't think so either. I'm sure that our show about what we wanted in a new series made it to the upper echelon of CBS, because, I mean, why wouldn't it? But I don't think they listened.
No, not at all. But so where do you want to start? You want to start with Beyond?
Well, let's go through Beyond. Let's start high.
Okay. And go low.
And go low.
All right, so Star Trek Beyond opened, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
A lot of people have seen it by now, and I got to tell you, going into it, if you've watched this over the last year or so, you knew that I am not a fan of Abrams' Star Treks. The first one, okay, I can handle that.
Yep.
You know, I don't hate it. I don't necessarily really like it. Into Darkness, I hate. I think that thing is a pile of garbage.
Yep, and I think a lot of people had your attitude.
So here comes Star Trek Beyond, and just leading up to it, you have a movie that looks like it's supposed to be an action movie. It's directed by the dude that did one of the Fast and Furious, Justin Lin.
Justin Lin.
And you get another Death of the Enterprise in it in the trailer. You get pretty much a lot of the story.
A Jim Kirk who's not exactly sure what the hell he's doing in space.
Exactly.
And you get, after Into Darkness, which was a disappointment, you're preparing for more. Mm-hmm. And then you get the guy doing Fast and Furious, so you start to think, okay, this isn't going to be Star Trek. This is going to be some popcorn flick.
Yeah.
This is going to be a terrible movie.
Well, the first thing I thought was, okay, Abrams, thanks for just dropping and going, hey, look, Star Wars is open. I'm going to go do
shiny.
that now.
Yep.
So we didn't see it together. It's like the first time we haven't seen a movie together in a while.
Yep.
I know. It's kind of... I don't know what to say about that.
The first time we haven't seen one of these, anyway. One of our big... we knew we were going to talk about it.
So I went to... Actually, the funny story about me going and seeing it, it kept popping up, and everybody kept coming out and saying, it's good, and I finally... I just got done mowing the lawn, and my wife is sitting there, and like something had popped up on my phone about Star Trek, and then there was a commercial. I'm like, oh, come on. And she goes, what? I'm like, everything just keeps coming up Star Trek, and I want to go see it. She goes, listen, if you want to go see it, go see it. I'm like, is this a trick? And she goes, no, it's not going to kill. Like, she doesn't mind going to those, but it wasn't going to kill her. There was one within 20 minutes, and I went. So you know what? I got to sit here and tell you, I liked it.
I liked it a lot. We hit it opening night. Mm-hmm. It was... You could have still found a seat in that theater. Yeah. It was one of the bigger theaters down there. You could have found a seat.
You were in San Antonio?
No, we were here in West Des Moines.
That's right, because you asked me, and it was like short notice.
Yep. We were originally supposed to be in Kansas City, which is why we weren't going to see it together.
Yeah.
And then that trip ended up not happening. But, like I said, one of the bigger theaters there in West Des Moines at Jordan Creek, you could have found a seat. Mm-hmm. You might have had to work if you had more than one or two people that wanted to sit together to find it. It was pretty well filled. It was great. I absolutely, I had gone into it with my general, as I've said on here many times before, 2 hours of a Star Trek movie is still better than anything else, whatever. And it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think what I liked most about that movie was they didn't try to rehash anything.
Nope.
It was a fairly original story. I mean, it's hard to do new sci-fi.
Yep.
But they didn't try and take, one of the old Star Trek ideas and cram it into, hey, let's try and make a new version of that.
Yep.
It was, I liked the story.
Yep.
I liked the Yorktown station. I love that thing.
Yep.
That thing, that was one of those, really kind of epic moments where you see something and it's like, someone dreamed this up.
Yep.
And otherwise, it had good action scenes. It wasn't overdone action.
Yep. It wasn't ridiculous, but what was there was very, very good, and you could obviously see, there were effectively, outer space car chases. You could see Justin Lin's influence by definitely, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't, that I don't say that as a negative. Everything was very competently executed. There were some, going back to what you just said a minute ago, it does feel like they're breaking new ground.
Yeah.
And being the 966th day of the 5-year, which 966, of course, is when it premiered.
Yeah.
But that's 3 years in. Season 3 of, the original series, this is about the time that the original series was ending. That this movie is set.
Yeah.
So it does kind of feel like, hey, we've done the thing where, okay, it's the start of the Kelvin universe.
Yeah.
We've done Khan, we've done our callback. Let's do something completely original. Let's set it at the end of when we left these guys on their adventures, 50 years ago. And let's pick up. And I think they did that really well. It felt like an original series episode to me.
See, everybody keeps saying that, and like I've seen the original series. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but to me, it just seemed like a movie. I guess I could see where you would break it up into.
Well, it's just it tonally.
Okay.
It felt like okay, dramatic beat, humor. Yeah. Another dramatic beat, humor, fist fight, humor.
Yeah.
Ridiculous plots, sequence that didn't feel out of line with anything that they used to do, in that stuff. And they would wrap it all up as a package. There are very few Star Trek episodes that are purely dramatic or purely, comedic or purely, suspense, whatever. But they're all sort of blended, and this movie to me really was this nice blend of a little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of action, and kind of a total package deal. So tonally, it feels like an episode to me.
Okay, I can see that. The best thing about this movie, they got rid of that ugly ship.
Yes. Yes.
And that, what, when they were showing the trailer, I thought that would be a pretty quick wrap up to that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That scene took forever in that movie. It's like, okay, you've destroyed the Enterprise now. Okay.
Oh no, they smashed the out of the Enterprise.
They really did.
They did not just blow it up, but they dissected it.
Yeah.
I
love
it took 30 minutes to kill that ship.
There was something oddly weird. I'm trying to think of how to put it, but it was cool to me. One of the coolest things that ship has ever done is right after they got the nacelles cut off, they did something to get the impulse engines back on, and they started taking off. And it's like, wow, that ship is still fighting, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, for a little bit, I felt a little something for that ship first time.
When they, after the nacelles were destroyed, and they, spoiler alert, they separated the saucer and kicked it back to the generators on the saucer because everything was still tied into the warp drive.
Yeah. Well, right.
And the first time that they have actually, and obviously it's Kelvin, not Prime Universe, but it was always, if you looked in the technical manuals and whatnot, it was always possible to separate the saucer from a Constitution-class starship, but it would require a starbase
To reassemble
to reconnect.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that even going back that far, obviously 30 years later, since the Enterprise D did it for the first time and encountered a Farpoint, but that, yes, it was possible even on the Constitution class.
I really liked kind of going with that. Some of the callbacks. I like how they integrated the Enterprise universe. Mm-hmm. The Makos and kind of going back in time a little bit. And that USS Franklin.
Yep.
I really like that ship.
It's a badass little ship.
That thing is awesome, man. I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Like the scene where, spoiler alert. Listen, if you don't want any spoilers, just leave now, okay?
Pretty much. Come back in
20 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Fast forward here. Anyways,
I'll give you 2 big thumbs up when we're done talking about it.
Okay. So, when they did the dive off there and stuff, to get it going again, I was like, man, that's a cool little ship. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think all the continuity completely fit for what they...
And apparently in the Kelvin universe, they found a good source of vibranium to make all the ships out of.
Yeah, because those things are tough,
Those things are really tough.
I mean, think about it. The Enterprise survived crash landing and then flipping over. Mm-hmm. The Franklin had been buried there, had crash landed on the rockiest planet I've ever seen.
Yes.
And then...
basically been sort of covered, landslided, rock slided.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna jumpstart it and scrape the belly off the cliff.
But I love the parts like the transporter when they're like, yeah, we had to make a couple modifications to make it safe for people because it just used
cargo. Which
cargo.
I mean, up until the time, even in Enterprise the series, they had just recently approved transporters for.
Yeah, because Archer was like the first one to go through, and he like looked around like, what are you doing?
Yes.
So, no, I mean, overall, I had fun with that movie. Even as dumb as the Beastie Boys part is.
Yep.
I mean, it's just really stupid as that is.
Yep.
I actually kind of liked it. And one other thing, it was the first time I've ever looked at that crew as
a crew.
As a crew and those people.
Yes. And I think that was the way that, they wrote them again. 3 years into the journey, conceivably, we've done everything that they did in the original series.
Yeah.
These people have already been through the ringer. So, yeah, it doesn't... Bones stealing booze out of Chekhov's locker, actually seems like, okay, this is my buddy.
Yeah.
I would do this. Sulu turning around and not in a, sort of insubordinate like you would think but after 3 years in deep space saying, you kidding me, sir?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is why I loved the byplay with Carl Urban and Zach Quino, because of all of the characters, Carl Urban inhabits the spirit of DeForest Kelley and Bones McCoy better than anybody else.
I would agree with that.
I mean, he is that character.
Yeah, he really is. Just to kind of wrap up, because I don't want to spend the whole time on this. And this is more spoiler, but the end when they're building the new ship, that is one of the greatest scenes I've ever watched.
I wish it was 3 times as long.
The time lapse of going around the ship and watching it being constructed.
I wish it was 3 times as long.
Yeah.
I really wish that we had a Star Trek the Motion Picture approach and beauty shot. That sort of almost operatic length, because that was like in the motion picture, that was like an 8-minute shot.
Yeah, it was. That thing took forever.
I could have sat there though and watched the Enterprise A getting constructed like that for that length of time.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It really is.
Heartily recommend it. I mean, unequivocally recommend go see this movie.
So the other thing that came out, and as we talked, give your thumbs up. No more spoilers, I guess. We'll get to one other part of that movie because we're going to go into some ship stuff here in a little bit because of a trailer for what they're calling Star Trek Discovery.
Yep.
It was released at Comic-Con, and much is kind of the surprise of everybody, and it was one of those, okay, hey.
Kind of came out of the blue.
I'm really fired up to see a new trailer for Star Trek, and then they show it, and it's just a ship coming out of a
asteroid base.
Out of an asteroid base, and it's like the ugliest ship on the planet, and it's really crappy CGI.
It's not good.
It's Star Trek and their infinite wisdom. What I think they did was, I think they thought we need to have something at Comic-Con or released around the time of Comic-Con, because we're writing Star Trek Beyond right now. That's our next thing. It's 50 years and all this and that. It feels like they rushed it. And granted, there have been reports that no, this isn't the finished product. No, this isn't the final CGI work. That it'll look better.
Might not even be the same ship.
It might not even
down
be
to it.
So the only other thing, and you put it up on the Facebook page, facebook.com/151theshow. Hey, there you go. That's not bad. You put up that it is going to be set in the Prime universe.
That is the report, that it's going to be set in the Prime universe, and they went back to a Ralph McQuarrie design, basically.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Titans?
Hard enough. Star Trek Titan or something like that. Planet of the Titans or something like that.
You talk, I'll look it up.
It hard enough that they asked about using it, and the guy said, "Well, legally, I can't really comment." It is honestly a Ralph McQuarrie design. If you don't know who Ralph McQuarrie is, he was also the guy who did a lot of the conceptual work for Star Wars. But he contributed when they were trying to relaunch Star Trek into the motion picture. They had a couple different versions of that coming out of all the Star Trek Phase 2 stuff.
Because it's not Phase 2.
No. This is Planet of the Titans, which was one of the takes. I'm not sure whether this is the one where Gene Roddenberry had Jim Kirk getting into a fist fight with Jesus. I think that was a different.
No, it's the
version.
Because I read
that's an article that's been they've brought that up here lately too. That was
because they wanted that to be the movie.
Right? Yes, originally the motion picture.
It's like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Don't get me wrong. Gene Roddenberry had some very interesting ideas, some very good ideas. Gene Roddenberry also, if you didn't rein him in, Gene Roddenberry, yes, was definitely. Not only an atheist, but had some hatred for anybody who had any sort of faith whatsoever. So, yes, Jim Kirk getting into a fist fight with Jesus Christ would have been Roddenberry's wet dream, and that's one of the early
Planet
drafts.
Of the Titans.
Planet of the Titans. Yeah, that was one of the early drafts for that movie. Was going to involve that. So, kind of got off track there, but with the ship, because they're trying to set it, and I think because they were trying to set it in a sort of, this is sort of the era that we're going to post the original series, but maybe not yet anywhere else. Let's look at that era of design and see what we can scavenge that we've already got. And they pulled out this colossal turd.
Like, I kind of looked at it the first time, like, did you even try here?
And let's, if we haven't already, let's throw it up on the screen at this point, in post.
Yeah. Because we do post production.
We do post.
Yeah.
He does post.
Yeah, I do all the work here.
So everybody can see it, but yeah, the Discovery. God, I hope this isn't what this ship looks like in the final, because it's not good.
Yeah, a guy I follow on Facebook. There's this thing called Trek Yards, and it's all these people that just put up starships. They like take different starships and remake them and stuff, and some of them are turn out pretty cool. And I'm like, hey, that's a good looking ship. Other ones I'm like, don't ever do that again. But some guy put up a virtual render of Discovery, and I got to tell you, in that I didn't hate it as bad. In the trailer, I hate it. On this thing,
well, you can pick your angles.
Yeah.
There's two things that I need. One, that saucer section is tiny. It looks weird. And the other thing It's the same reason I didn't like Voyager all that much. It's the same reason, I had some issue. I'll tell you what, this ties back into why I didn't like the D all that much.
Okay. So are we getting into the whole starship design thing now, or?
Well, at least for this much.
Okay.
The nacelles need to be above the saucer.
Really?
At least on a level or slightly above to make that ship look fast, to me.
Okay.
The ones I don't like, Voyager, they were at the bottom.
Yeah.
They flipped up, kind of cool effect. The D, they were below the saucer section. Just don't get me wrong. 7 years, love the ship. Yeah. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world to me, but I did love that ship because,
Picard.
I love that show. But this is an ugly ship.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of things. It looks... And when did they say they were going to do it? Have they said anything like that?
Not really specific. Again, and I think you're exactly right. I think they wanted something to put out at Comic-Con coming off of, Beyond having a really good weekend.
Yeah.
Because it had a really good weekend. It made...
It did 54, 58 million, somewhere in there.
59, just right below 60. It didn't make original, 2009 Star Trek money.
Yeah.
It didn't even make Into Darkness money.
No. Well, everybody's scared of it,
because I think Into Darkness screwed the pooch for them, but I think it's going to be better in the long run. I think it's going to give everybody... It's by far the best reviewed of all three of them. Yeah. Because it actually had like a show logic.
Yeah.
So...
one other thing, because they already said they're going to do a fourth one of these. Did you see who might be in it?
Chris Hemsworth. They said he's going to be in it.
Yeah. I don't know how. So we have time travel. Did you hear the other rumor with that is
we either have time travel or we're slapping 30 years worth of makeup on Chris Hemsworth and
he didn't die on the Romulan ship.
Well, and he could have survived the impact and been in prison on Rura Penthe with Nero's crew because they cut that out.
I forgot about that.
But here's the thing: are you seriously telling me that you're going to put Chris Hemsworth in that movie and slap 30 years of aging makeup on him and not use him to get lady butts in the seats?
It's time travel. Well, no, there was a rumor going around that the next one might reset the timeline, that all this stuff never happened.
Really?
That it'll jump back to Prime.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that or whatever, but
I don't know that they can. I don't know that they've got enough of the fan base that's the same to cross that and do that. But it would be interesting. Yeah. Sort of pull a Yesterday's Enterprise where, Chris Hemsworth goes back and averts the situation or whatever.
I always kind of wonder what they do. What?
Well, and see...
You had to look on your face.
I did, because my thought, and I put this on Facebook, the first day I heard this. Had they not... I really appreciate... Okay, one more beyond spoiler. I really appreciate, at the end, that picture of that crew.
Okay,
I know. I really appreciate that. However, had they not done that, you could have had William Shatner be in the next movie as an aged George Kirk. That would have been amazing.
Okay, that brings up... I like that they put that picture in there. Said picture, production picture from Star Trek 6. Mm-hmm. Here's one of my beefs with Star Trek, okay? And it actually applies to this picture. Starships never looked lived in.
No.
Any ship, whether it was the original one or Enterprise, or the one that probably did the best with this might have been like DS9.
DS9, because the whole station looked lived in before they got in it.
But none of the ships, I want to, if you go into someone's quarters, or say this picture, instead of using a production picture, if they could have CGI'd it somehow or done something, made something that looks real.
Instead of having them all on the bridge, have them all at Kirk's place, for a
something, or
party.
Everybody toasting, or showing kind of that
yes,
that more. I don't know if "real" is the right word, but more realistic kind of picture.
And that's interesting you say that, because and I've taken a lot of crap over this from different people over the years, but some of my favorite parts, the reason that I like Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, even, God help me, Final Frontier, Star Trek V, as much as I do, is the scenes at the Academy, where they're, and the scenes at Kirk Apartment. The scenes where they're, busting McCoy out and they're not on duty. It is always that off-duty character development that I've really liked out of this group of people. So yes, to have seen some of that in that picture rather than the production still, and again, I appreciate that they did that and gave that shout out, but I agree with you.
Which, by the way, going back to Kirk's apartment for a second, dude's got a problem. That's a lot of weaponry on the walls.
I see. I don't see. No, I don't have that issue at all.
And there is not one comfortable couch in that place.
No.
The furniture of the future, horrible. Just god awful. Like, they're pillows. Look at go to DS9 again. Did you ever see the pillows?
Oh yeah, they're like one little square, 3 inches thick.
Or Picard. I remember I was watching some episode a couple weeks ago, and he's like laid in bed, and he's like this.
Yes.
I'm like, how do you sleep like that?
Yes. Now, I will say the chairs on the Enterprise E look super comfy.
The bridge chairs or
all the chairs. Like his quarter chairs, the bridge chairs.
Every single chair looks awesome.
Every single chair on the Enterprise E looks super comfy.
Okay, I can handle that. But no, that's always one of my qualms with, Star Trek. It never looks lived in.
Yeah.
All the it's like, if you're...
The engine room looks like a brewery, for God's sake.
Yeah, a little bit. But you'd think over a certain amount of time, you'd accumulate stuff.
Yes.
Especially on like a ship like, a Galaxy-class ship,
where
you're living there.
And you have all white panels on the bridge. You're gonna scuff one of them.
Yeah. And how did not one person ever sneeze and be like, crap, fire torpedoes?
Or... everybody standing up there looking at the glass holographic display and be like, "Oh God, there's a ship!" Oh no, sorry, that was me. I coughed.
Oh boy, that's just... I don't know what's coming at us, Captain, but it's globular. And so
the red thingy just fired something at the green thingy, and I think we're the green thingy.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Oh, such a good movie. But yeah, that's always... I know we're kind of off topic and what we wanted to do, but I've always wanted to see like them after time living on a ship. You know? Like Picard, they always showed like, oh, I got all this archaeological stuff, and hey, I got a statue over there. It's like, okay. You mean to tell me you don't have one pair of underwears just sitting on the floor?
Exactly.
Or,
No, the underwear is built into the uniform. They don't have any underwear in the future.
I guess, man.
It's
but you know what I'm saying?
One piece. It's all one-piece jumpsuit that goes in a hatch.
I mean, you look around here. I mean, we've lived in this house for about 4 years or so, and you've
got junk everywhere.
Junk. That's cold, man. These are some of my prized possessions.
Clutter.
This is what
you have good clutter.
This is what my wife makes me try and throw away.
I'm not saying this in a negative way. I am exactly
the same. It looks
the
lived in, though.
Yes. I will take a picture of the back of my desk at work so you can put it up so I can show.
What if you went into like any one of the ready rooms or whatever, right? And you go in there and Janeway's got a stack of just all over, like she can't see.
Yeah. Well, and that's why they always said, the electronic, the pads, so that there was no paperwork ever on the desk, because they never wanted to see paperwork in the future. It wouldn't exist. But
they did try and clutter up a couple of the desks where they showed like Picard's in one of the movies.
Yeah, 14 pads sitting there on the desk trying to catch up.
It's like, you can't just have that on one.
But yes, you would think that there would be something.
Yeah.
Or you walk in one of the rooms after the fight and there's Picard's ancient ceramic statue is shattered because the whole ship just flung everybody off
another
their feet.
thing. It's like, man, you should have everything on that ship tied down.
Absolutely.
You'd think so.
Just like on a naval ship.
That, and just once I want to see you go in and Data's vacuuming his carpet because cat litter's all over.
Or they're scrubbing some poor red shirt's blood out of the bridge of the bridge's carpet.
Go on the bridge. Just one wall.
Yeah.
What happened? Red shirt. Ooh. So, just kind of
insignia embedded in the wall and a couple of insignia pips scattered.
I did not once one turned into like a throwing star. Like,
yeah, right.
What happened? Red shirt exploded again.
Timmy didn't make it.
Oh, poor Timmy.
So, Discovery, I'm excited for if they can fix that stupid ship.
Yeah.
But, okay, so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, this depends on a timeline that we don't know where it's going to be set. But how do you make it a good-looking ship?
Real quick, as we're kind of getting long in the tooth here with this, I always... if you're going to do saucer section, I mean, the Defiant kind of, if you take that one out, I mean, everything pretty much has some kind of saucer section, some kind of engineering section. Primary, secondary hull, right? And for me, what always makes a ship is the balance between the saucer section and the nacelles. And I think that's why I didn't ever like Abrams' first Enterprise.
Fat nacelles?
Because the nacelles didn't fit. The engineering section wasn't fat enough. Like, you got to the end of that ship and it was like, okay, did we just run out of material or what here? It just never looked right.
Yeah.
And those the engines were so huge. I mean, those things were damn big.
Original Constitution refit.
Uh-huh.
NCC 1701A. It's the best looking ship.
You like that one?
By far. That is the best looking starship in the Star Trek universe. Period.
Okay. Well, we can get into that discussion at another time. Because...
Yep.
So
we're a little long.
We are a little long. So next time, or one of the times down the road, we will talk about the different starships and what we like and all that. What I'm going to say is they got to get the balance between front end and back end.
Yep.
And it's got to look good.
Got to get the booty.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for us. That is 151 The Show. You can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, SoundCloud, subscribe to us on YouTube, and please share everything you find. Okay. If you like this video as much as Justin did, please make sure to follow us on these other fine media platforms.